Hey, it's Al here from Al's Geek Lab. Hope you're well. Today I'm going to show you something which I've been trying to do for a very long time, and I mean like forever. What I wanted was something pretty simple by the sounds of things, and that was to make two applications work at the same time on the internet on a DOS PC. And there are various reasons why that doesn't work, right? First of all, you need to be in a sort of protected mode memory space, or look, there's probably ways around it not being a protected mode memory space, but that really means that you have to have a machine that's capable of multitasking. And the machine that's capable of multitasking is the IBM PC 5160 XT. Wait, what? Well, if you've seen a recent video on the channel, you'll have seen that I upgraded said 5160 XT with a 4.77 megahertz 16-bit processor to become a 80386 32-bit processor with one of these, the Intel Inboard 386. That's crazy. So if you haven't checked out that video, you should definitely do that. I'll put that above and below. And whilst you're watching this, please like and subscribe to the channel, because there's lots more of this sort of stuff on there if this is your jam. Now, anyway, back to the thing in question. You want to be able to multitask. You want two applications running side by side. Now, when you get something like DesqView or maybe Windows 3.0 running on one of these machines, multitasking suddenly becomes available. Second problem you have with DOS applications anyway is that they require what's called a packet driver. The packet driver is the way that the network interface card is interfaced in DOS. So rather than write directly to the network card, you write data, receive and transmit and all that good stuff to the packet driver. The packet driver intercepts that traffic and then sends it down to the network card on its merry way to the internet or wherever it's going. All right, simple so far? Cool. If you have one application and it's just going, right, talk to the packet driver, talk, no problem. But the problem is when you have two applications vying for that packet driver. So application 1, say it's on interrupt 0 times 60. Application 2 also tries to interrupt that application, and guess what? They crash. They will not work. You can't talk to the same interrupt. In fact, you can't even leave the interrupt alone when you are multitasking. So basically, if I have this telnet application open like I do right now, and then I want to swap out and go to some other application, let's say it's Microsoft Word, the network application has gone to sleep and basically dies. So that's pretty bad. How do you fix that one? Well, this is the piece of magic that you need. It's called a packet driver multiplexer.
This video is sponsored by the very wonderful people at PCBWay. PCBWay are the leading electronics and prototyping manufacturer. If you've got an idea, you can use PCBWay to turn it into a reality. PCBWay can build PCBs from just $5. PCBWay also do 3D printing, CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication, injection molding, and so much more. So if you've got an idea for an electronics project, why don't you give PCBWay a try at PCBWay.com? After all, that is the PCBWay. We thank PCBWay for sponsoring Al's Geek Lab. Now, let's get back to the video.
So basically what happens, you run your packet driver as normal, and then you run the packet driver multiplexer, which sets up this kind of hook into the packet driver. And then you install packet drivers on top of that with different interrupt vectors. That sounds a bit complicated, but I'm going to take you through how it's done. And when you see how it's done, you'll think, actually, that's not as hard as it sounds. Let me demonstrate this in real time for you first though. All right, so you can see that I've got my little BBS running here. This is Al's Geek Lab BBS. Check it out if you've never seen it before. But anyway, if I'm running DesqView right now, and if I press the Alt key, you get up the DesqView menu, and you can switch between windows by doing this. So I've got another DOS window open, and if it swaps out for a moment, if I had more memory, it wouldn't need to swap. But in any case, here I am with my Linux box. I haven't set up the display to look proper, but you can get the idea that I'm working away now in Linux. Okay, there we go, doing my thing. Hello from Al's Geek Lab. And if I swap back to the BBS, hopefully everything just works. I can take off where I was and I can check out the weather in my local city of Wellington. Yep, that's great, it's working just fine. So basically we have multiple applications running at the same time, and in fact I could run have we got a calculator here? It's not fast, but that's not the point. Yes, we have a calculator. So we've got multiple things running all at the same time. That's only possible through to this multiplexing thing that I was talking about earlier. So let me show you how that works. So I'm going to quit out of all of this. Okay, so I have rebooted the machine right back into good old standard DOS. I'm not running DesqView at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run you through kind of how this works. And for the most of the applications that I use in DOS for networking, I use Michael Brookman's TCP stuff. Okay, so usually if you're running Michael Brookman's TCP stuff, all you do is run your packet driver. I've got here, so 3C503, I'd give it a packet number interrupt number, say 60. I'd give it the IRQ and the address of the actual card, and then it says, hey, MS-DOS, you can now use a packet driver. And if you run a tool like Michael Brookman's DHCP, we can work away quite the thing. Now, I have set up a separate batch file called GoMux. So I'm just going to show you what GoMux looks like. So first off, I run the packet driver, 3C503. I've got a 3COM503 network card. I give it the interrupt of 60. Remember that I'm giving it the standard interrupt of 60. The IRQ and the IO you don't need to worry about in this particular case because they're going to be different for everybody. Then I run this packet driver multiplexer to intercept requests that go to that 60. All right, so we're still on 60. All right, and then I'm going to prepare the environment to tell MTCP's config to run on packet driver at 65, not 60 but 65. So if we just have a look at the MTCP config, the usual MTCP config looks a bit like this. It's got a packet interrupt there of 60. All right, so at the moment it's saying 60, but what I'm doing is I'm copying over the MTCP 65 into the main config file because I'm going to force it to use not 60 but 65. That all makes sense? Okay, cool. So I'm going to do GoMux. All right, so it's starting up the packet driver here. It's found my network card at IO port 250, memory address 200. Great, and then it loads the packet mux, which is that multiplexer I told you, and it's copied now that MTCP config file to tell it to use 65. Now I can start up DesqView, the multitasking environment. So now that I'm in DesqView, I can go about my usual day. I can, load off anything I like. So I'm going to run up MS-DOS, and I'm going to go into that packet mux folder, have a look in there. Now I've made a batch file already, which I'll just show you. Go DesqView packet, it's called. So I'm just going to show you this little batch file I made just to make sure that I don't have to remember this stuff every single time. What I do is I set the interrupt for the packet driver to 65. I've just set a variable there, and then down here I launch the packet driver with that variable. So packet driver on 65, not 60. Then I do a standard DHCP, and then I can do whatever I want to do after that point. So let's have a look at how that works. Go dvpkt, and you can see here packet driver is now running on interrupt 65. And then we're running a DHCP, and we have got an IP address, and we're ready to do some stuff. So for example, I can go into my BBS. All right, looks good. super secure password. There's the YouTube channel. Definitely check out Back to the BBS if you haven't. It's a great series. And there you go. So, saying hi from my IBM PC XT5160. There I am. Now, if I press open window, run another DOS window, here I am, right? I'm back at this point, and the only thing I need to change is to change the network settings in MTCP as well as the next muxer that I run. So if I go in here and change MTCP.CFG and point it to another interrupt rather than 65, this time I will choose 66. So just manually editing that file for now. Come out of that. And then if I go into packet mux and I run packet driver, so I'm showing you this kind of manually here, and I'm running it on 66 this time. Now if I run DHCP, it should come back to me, but I'm interrupting this from 66. So I think if we've done packet stats, here we go. We've got this one here knows about interrupt 66, and it says that there's another packet driver busy in some other DOS or Windows session. And now I should be able to telnet to my Linux box. Looking good. Yep, and now we're in. Okay, that is the power of the multiplexing. Very cool thing to do. So we can run 2 applications, 3 applications. You can actually increase the buffer. You can have 5 applications or 6 applications all running at once. A little bit fiddly because you have to change around the expected interrupt vector of the MTCP and also change the packet mux driver, but you know, that's a small price to pay to be able to get multiple applications using the network driver at the same time. So that's a big bonus for this sort of a system. One other thing that you might be wondering is, okay, I don't use DesqView, I use Windows. Well, it should work as well. I haven't tested it in this system yet because I'm not actually using Windows, but there is a winpacket.com file there as well, so that should be able to intercept Windows so that you can actually run the packet driver inside Windows, and it will then do the right thing as well by that. So that is basically a really short whistle-stop tour of using packet mux in MS-DOS to allow you to have multiple TCP sessions running simultaneously all on one PC. I know it's not a revelation if you run an Amiga or even an Atari ST where you could have multitasking from like 1985 onwards, but you know, back in the day, this was a big deal. You know, networking in MS-DOS really wasn't a thing that was well made or well thought out, but the capability to multitask, well, DOS was never intended for multitasking, so the capability to have it multitask under something like DesqView or Windows and have the capability to have multiple applications running with the network stack at the same time, that's when it, you know, truly is pretty cool. So yeah, hope this has been helpful to somebody who has wondered if it's possible to run multiple applications with the network driver at the same time. There you go, it's possible with packet mux. So if you've got any questions about packet multiplexing, then you know who's the guy to come to. There are, by the way, lots of optimizations you can do with that packet multiplexer driver to make the performance better. I just showed you the basic use of how to do it. I'll put some more details in the description below. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think and whether you think there's something that you could do with this, or if you've got any questions. Until next time, be good, be excellent to each other, and take care. I'll see you on the next Al's Geek Lab. Bye for now.